Hello and welcome to my video. Quote, it's not about the cheese, exclamation point, quote. So I've got a great story to tell you that actually corresponds really well to how some people feel as contract negotiators. My family decided to go on a 4-day family vacation to a friend's cabin up in the mountains. And we took our 11-year-old daughter, but not our oldest daughter. She wasn't able to join us. And this was the first time that my 11-year-old daughter was able to take one of her friends on vacation, just Libby, my daughter, and just her friend. No big sister, no big sister's friends. She was on cloud 9. So throughout the entire vacation, Mom set the rules. So first we stop at the Safeway on the way up to the cabin so that the girls could pick out the lunch meat they wanted for their sandwiches, whether they wanted Chips Ahoy or Oreos, what kind of potato chips that they wanted. So already I was establishing, hey, we're going to share and we're going to negotiate. So it went okay. And then the first night we get there, we have dinner, and then we go down to the family room in the cabin to watch a movie. And I say, hey, our guest gets to choose the movie tonight because she's our guest. So okay, a little grudgingly, but my daughter agrees. The next morning we make this gigantic pancake. There's only one of them. And I ask my daughter's friend Vivian, hey, will you eat this whole pancake? And she said, yes. So I gave her the first pancake and my daughter had to sit and wait while I made the extra pancake. So that went okay. And we had all kinds of fun and played and did what you do on family vacations in a cabin in the woods. So it gets to the last day and the girls are making their sandwiches. We're going to go on a hike before we head back to the city. And there's one piece of American cheese left. Now there's plenty of Swiss cheese, which is Mom's favorite, but only one piece of American cheese. And my daughter, Libby, loses it. She's crying hysterically, tears, snot, the whole 9 yards, telling me all about the cheese and how unfair it is that Vivian got to take the last piece of American cheese because everybody knows that she doesn't like Swiss cheese. So I come home from the vacation and I'm telling my very good friend and employment mediator, Carol Bowser, about this conversation. So when I get to the part about the crying over the cheese, as a mom, she starts laughing hysterically and says, you do realize it's not about the cheese. And I said, yeah, I realize it's not about the cheese. Mom set all the rules and governed all the negotiations to Libby's detriment. In my effort to try to be a gracious host and to show Libby how to be a gracious host to her best friend, because I had taught her sister how to do this because her sister's older and we'd had many more opportunities, I inadvertently disfavored Libby. So how does that apply to you as a contract professional? I sat back and I thought to myself, well, I'll be darned. There have been so many times when somebody else set all the negotiation parameters and I just felt screwed. And whether it was a stakeholder in my company, so the CEO in a smallish company that finally came forward and said, this is how we're going to do it, and undermined the good work that my colleagues and I were doing, whether it was representing a supplier when I was still doing manufacturing work and I go into a very large manufacturing facility to negotiate an agreement and there's literally no water, no windows, no breaks. Just that really old style of negotiating. Or whether it's because you're the customer and you're able to use the procurement process through your organization to set the rules how the supplier is going to negotiate with you. In all of those circumstances, somebody else told you what the rules were and you didn't have an opportunity to agree. Or I should say I did not get a chance to change the location and the quality of the negotiation at the large manufacturing facility. And I don't get to change the procurement process. So what are 3 quick tips that you can keep in mind for yourself or for your counterpart when you're faced in a situation where you are about to lose your mind over the last slice of American cheese? 1, I would say when you notice that someone else is establishing negotiation boundaries or guidelines, parameters, rules that seem to significantly disfavor you, please do something or say something about it within your scope of authority. So at the manufacturing facility, I was one of many in the team, and I kept trying to make eye contact with the VP of sales so that we could take a break. And when we took a break, we made a very distinct request to A, keep the door open, it was getting too warm, or turn up the air conditioning. B, we had water brought in, we were willing to fill up our own water bottles if need be. 3, we made sure that after about 45 minutes, our team was going to take a break and be able to walk down the hallway and talk about what was going and how it was going to make sure that everybody was on the same page. Number 2, get help sooner. So my poor daughter is a very sensitive child, and so she's very aware of what other people are feeling and doing. I can't say that about my oldest daughter or some of my daughter's friends collectively. Some of them are just completely oblivious, and they're teens, and so whatever, right? We can't expect a lot out of them. But for some reason, my daughter really seems to understand, but she let it get way past her boiling point. So for you, if you're really sensitive to what's going on, you're sensitive to the fact that the stakeholder now has changed the rules of the parameters, or the customer's process would inhibit you from making very necessary and legitimate changes to the contract, please get help sooner than the point at which you're about to lose your marbles. Meaning, who else can you talk to in order to get some other perspective, advice, or accommodations? Now, I've negotiated in situations where I've been flat out told by the customer in the pre-bid process, you're not going to make exceptions to this agreement. It will weigh against you. And yet my client was so technically proficient, I created a bid exception table instead. So I literally went article, provision, suggested provision, reason, and put it into a table, even though I was told not to. And we still made the contract changes that we needed to make. So I didn't wait until I was told by their process, I can't do it. It's too late. You didn't submit that with the bid to actually make the changes. And third, when you're the hostess / mom, may I suggest that you include others in how you will go forward with negotiations? I didn't ask my daughter if she wanted to have these rules in place with respect to her best friend. I think she probably could have handled it just fine if mom hadn't gotten involved and started dictating the rules about our guest gets the first pancake, or gets to choose the movie, or gets the last piece of American cheese. So where in your life as a contract negotiator can you take a step back and let the process go forward, or include others in the process in a way that allows them the dignity to be who they are without bombing them? So, all right, on that happy note, thanks for watching. It wasn't about the cheese. It was about the process that I put in place. And I hope that these tips are useful and valuable to you. Check out my Contract Professionals Playbook if you are interested in wanting e-learning or customized negotiation tools. Bye.